coming back from that, I'm like packing up and going, damn, dude, well, this is going down. I have a ex-girlfriend that I find out when I come back is smoking heroin, right? Who I had moved in with my mom's house, who is like stealing shit pretty much. And so it was amazing. It was crazy to see somebody, kind of fall that hard. So that's kind of going on, but that was almost honestly a blip on the radar from what I had coming. It felt like a tidal wave, because if facing prison, honestly, they gave me a simple decision, because I didn't care about the prison time. That was not what I was worried about. I was worried about getting a felony. So if they were going to keep it as a felony, I'll take it all the way to the box. I was committed to it, because if a felony I would lose my Trident. So up all leading to, I'm like burning in kind of. I was out partying the night before. I feel like I'm walking the plank. I'm in my dress blues, like sitting on the toilet, man, and I get a call from my lawyer. I'm supposed to meet him in like 30 minutes. He goes, hey, we got a deal for you. And I'm going, he goes, you got to pay all the restitution in full, all this stuff, but they'll keep it as a misdemeanor, but maxed out, right? So 4 years formal probation, all these things. I have interstate compact transfer requirement. I'm like, fine. Misdemeanor I can deal with. Let's do it. So I pretty much write this guy my whole Iraq check, sold my truck, but I was honestly fine with that. Serve some time. So I take vacation. I do like 2-3 weeks in county up in Idaho and come back, but I have some real stringent requirements. No drinking alcohol tests. I have probation officer. I can't really leave the city without approval, but I'm a Navy SEAL, or I can't own a weapon. And so it's like, they were looking past a lot of it at the beginning. And I was following all the things, and I was really good for like 30 days. It was like, and then the devil comes calling, just the distraction. I was kind of have my stuff together, and I felt good. I felt like free again. Man, dude, and I was like trying, but I had no, JC, who you've interviewed before, says something good, what I really like. I was trying to be good, but I didn't know how. Just so well said. I really didn't know how to live right. I was disciplined-ish, which was dangerous. So I was, it's not like I was off doing drugs and doing crazy stuff all the time, but I was just go a little hard when we would go, and I tapered that back. So I'm like, oh, I'm good. I'm in this wheelhouse, but I really needed to be perfect, technically, right, to actually make this thing work. And I thought good was good enough. I get into another altercation at a.
So you're still in the teams?
Oh yeah, I'm just back in it, back in the flow, actually getting promoted, back on a promotion and back on the full upswing, right, after all this stuff. And I'm like I'm getting an LPO slot for the next year, and I'm like, all my stuff's coming back. Top secret clearance back, all the stuff is coming back at once.
So you're climbing back up that ladder.
I'm climbing back up, dude. And here's how like fast this stuff was slipping. The weekend I get, this is a story I never said, but it's like the weekend I get my top secret security clearance back. I go up to LA. I'm like training with some people up in LA and stuff and working out. And then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to the Roosevelt Hotel where I'm staying. I meet this girl, meet this other girl, and one of them, I guess, had been doing adult films or whatever. I didn't really know her. But she's like, hey, hanging out. We're all kind of hanging out. She's in my hotel room, and she pretty much is ODing. And I'm like the only one there, and I saved her life, really. But she's like coming to, and I remember like shock therapy her and stuff. I don't know what she had done, but she's like, and I'm going, and I'm like, I saved her life. And it just means she like comes to. But I remember when it was like questionable what was going to happen. And I go, dude, and I go, and I'm looking at, talking to myself, but talking with God, going, I don't know why I do this, like why I put myself in these situations. Like I can't keep doing this. But I remember having that real clear moment. And then she kind of comes to and is fine, is super thankful, and is like apologetic, but like was very, very thankful. I'm like, yeah, it's like, I don't know if I wasn't here, what would have happened, right? But that moment, I remember being like, dude, you have it all right here, and you just gave it away, right? Because imagine the cops come, it's all in shambles again. And so I come back from that. It was like kind of a sobering experience. And I just remember being like, dude, I got to be very careful about where I put myself. And so I thought I was. And I'm like, I'm only going to put energy into people that I want to date seriously and whatever. And I did that. And I'm on this date with this chick who I'm very serious about. And it was perfect. And and I felt so happy. This was months later, right? I remember the day before taking a shower. I'm like this, the music's going, and I went, dude, this is the happiest I've ever been. The happiest I'd ever been. I have a succinct, very clear moment where I had this thought. I am like falling in love with this new girl, and I'm going on a date with her finally, and it had been, and I'm going, wow. And we go on this date, and I get too drunk. I hop in a golf cart, it's the counties, and I get arrested, right? And it turns into a whole thing, tasers and dogs, and because I try to get away. And so I'm fighting off a dog, it turns into snowballs. And Jimmy Buffett's playing in the background in this, and how fast, and this was the next day, right? The next day when I had that high to low. And now, you want to talk about a low. We talk about lows, right? This is way lower than I had been. The lowest. I think the lowest point of my life up to this point had been right there. And I'm in jail, all cut up, no shirt, in downtown San Diego, where I had been multiple times. And I remember, and I'm just bleeding, man, from getting tackled, but in the parking lot by the cops and tased and all the things. And I'm going, I bail out, which I barely could. I did really fast, but even though I was on probation, I shouldn't have been able to, but I had good credit and money. I still was like successful on that side. Like was good with money and things, and all this was gonna end up getting smashed into smithereens after all this though. And I bail out, and my sister picked me up. My sister picked me up, who was married to a SEAL at the time. And she's driving me back up to this hotel I had, or I had to go get my stuff. And she goes, this is it, huh? And it was just quiet, and I went, yeah. And she goes, this is the end of it. She goes, this one feels different. Like, this fuck up feels different. And I go, yeah. This is the nail in the coffin of my SEAL career, for sure. And so I knew that moment was game changer. And I went, and then of course, the snowball avalanche is falling. I'm getting blown up by the team. I have sensitive gear that I was going to be going on a training trip the next day. And so I go drug test, and the team's mustered. I passed the drug test, and I passed. And then Navy JAG sends up the request for performance enhancing drug test, and I fail that, right? And so I get popped, and I have an administrative guy come out one day. Now I'm pulled out of the platoon, and I'm dealing with this. So low point. Still getting sued from the stuff 2 years ago. That's still going on. So I'm still fighting that case. I'm on probation, formal probation for a violent crime. So now I violated that with another violent crime. So I have federal marshals looking to extradite me out of California, an active duty Navy SEAL. I have warrants. I have new charge that I'm dealing with, which is, whatever it is. I have 3 lawyers and two lawyers and three lawyers in 2 states on. And I'm just hemorrhaging cash. I'm just and I remember I would have to go check in the team, and then they're like, hey, go handle your business, because they knew I had a lot going on. I went and sat in my car in the passenger seat, just in the passenger seat of my Honda Civic I had owned, or whatever, Toyota Camry at the time, because I had to sell my truck. And I remember sitting in the passenger seat, getting crushed by life, just crushed. The girl was gone at the time, so I everything just taken away from that pinnacle of happy moment. So low. And when you're at those low moments, all you have is prayer, man. All you have is prayer. And I really just leaned in going, I know I've done all this to myself. I was not blaming anybody. That was one thing I was pretty good at, but I didn't know how to use the accountability yet. I could take accountability, but I didn't know how to use it to actually change what I was doing, this perpetual self-sabotage. And people watching are like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Like, bro, it's back to back. Yeah, I know. Trust me, I was living it. But there was a lot of successes in between, and there was a lot of time in between. And so you forget, I'm still opping, I'm still getting a lot of accolades and doing a lot of positive things, working out every day. I'm still doing all these things. And so there was like these major mess ups that would just destroy everything. And that's why I didn't have clarity on it. But that led, now I'm out. I mean, they're pushing me out. I mean, it's pretty clear. And so I pretty much just string this along, finally get my lawyer to make me serve some time. I get it cleared up, but I go back to jail and I'm out of the military.
What were your leaders like in the team saying to you? Did they kind of just like not have any grace left for you, or like you're reaping what you're sowing, or they like?
They were good with me. The commanding officer, I had to get my Trident pulled, right, because it's conduct. So I have my Trident pulled, and in that meeting, it was just the commanding officer and the master chief and another dude. And he goes, "Are you gonna be okay? Like, you gonna kill yourself or something?" Like, he was asking me that, and I went, "No." I was like, "No." He's like, "What are you gonna do?" I said, "I think I'm gonna do what I've done my whole life. I'm gonna take it on the chin and put my head up on my shoulders back." And the master chief, he's like, "Dude, it makes me want to tear up, dude." Hearing that, he's like, "Bro, like, it's all you can do." And they shook my hand and I walked out. It wasn't like they were making me sweep the floor or take the, they were like, dude, they knew I knew how much of a fuck up this was. There's nobody needed, but I did have calls from teammates going, "Dude, you got a problem, man." I had a good teammate. He's like, "Dude, you got a problem, man. You got to get this shit squared away." I'm like, "Yeah, dude," and I was getting good direction, but now I was off on my own. I mean, I stayed contact, but I was kind of doing my own thing, getting this squared away and trying to prep my next step.
So within the teams, even though you're making these major mistakes, in your free time, within the teams, you're doing your job.
Oh man, I was locked on, and I was getting successes, and on the field, I was good. Out in the field, I was good. I knew my jobs. I was just this off the field variable, right?
So you weren't a sandbagger, or the other word.
I would push hard, and I was always in good shape. I was just up early training. I loved being at work. I really did, and I just really loved being out partying hard too. It's like I liked the powerful nature of it, but I didn't understand that to be actually good at work, you got to be good off the field too, right? Because it affects. There's not like these separate warehouses of life. And this is a deeper meaning of what I've come to understand is nothing's in its own warehouse. Everything's connected. Closed doors, open doors. God's got a ledger, man, right? It's this karma. You don't have to be pushing grandmas in the street to stack bad karma. You could just not be living your best life. And every time I, did this, I knew I shouldn't. I had that authentic voice of God saying, "Hey, dude, go to bed early, man. You don't gotta, keep." I would be like, "Yeah, well, later, and boom, and it's like it's all good till it's not."